Yes, I remember that day. Had a great day at school. I played the 24 game, and I was the winner. Only became sad when the end of day bell rang and it was time to go home. I walked into the four-walled cell, past my sister in the living room watching TV, on the way to the stairs where I would always go upstairs and say hello to my mother. Crimson smeared the walls, and she rushed to the top of the stairs to prevent me from going any further. I asked what happened, and she, newly missing her front teeth, explained to me that she had fallen down the stairs. I later learned that she had some help. At the top of the stairs, he punched her in the face, knocked out her front teeth, and then she fell down the stairs. I called the cops, because that's what they teach you in school. But nothing came of it because she didn't press charges. I didn't know how else to help. That night was pretty intense, and it also wasn't over. I lay with eyes tightly shut, wishing I was dreaming of princesses, but instead faintly hearing my mother screaming for God's blessings. He yelled, "Shut up, woman, I can't think," and followed that up with striking her again. I think to myself, do I interrupt? Can I help? Can I stop this? No. What can I do? Just 9 years old with an actual lifetime of this to go through. So I used the only tool or weapon for which a child is equipped. Frown face, hurt soul, eyes filled as deep as wells. It all built up until I exploded and I let out a child's cry. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Staff Sergeant Shanice Hawley, United States Air Force. And I would like to thank you very much, Mr. Hoffman, for that very gracious welcome. I just want to thank you for allowing me to share my life story with you. And I just want you to understand and get a feel for the conditions and the stress that I had to endure while growing up. I would like to introduce you to Shanice. I am the product of a single-parent home, an addicted home, an abusive home, a low self-esteem home, a poverty-stricken home, a manipulative home. And as of today, while sharing my life story with you, I can say with morose disgust and intense sadness that I am the product of no home at all. If you go to school and get good grades, you can be anything that you want to be. Now let me tell you, if these words were the ledge on a 25-story building and I was in danger of falling from it, I held on. That's how deeply I held on to these words. I took these words to heart. I had an intense passion for school. I loved everything about it. But mostly I loved that I wasn't whatever we called home at the time. Talk about extracurricular activities. I was on the choir, the cheerleading squad, the art club, the computer club, the drama club, the debate team, ran track, and I'm sure I'm missing something in there. I became a student in the Allentown School District in 1995. That's also one of the times I became homeless. I went to Trexler Elementary School, grades 5 through 8, and Louis C. Deere High School, grades 9 through 12. The first Allentown School District I met when I arrived in Pennsylvania was Brewster. I thought to myself, is that his real name? I later learned that it was Mr. Russell Valentini. He showed me me that he had an intense and genuine concern about my well-being, and proves the same to be true to this day, as we still keep in contact frequently. My first teacher was 5th grade homeroom and English teacher, Mrs. Benani. She made school a blast for me, and she showed me what a teacher should be. I had some very different teachers prior to her. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us. Mrs. Hampshire was my 6th grade teacher. She was my first difficult teacher, and my first C. Prepositional phrases are hard. Mrs. Michelle Wiley. See, she was my 11th grade algebra teacher. She knew I was having hard times because I wasn't all there in class. She said that I wasn't smiling, and that was completely unlike me. She talked to me to understand my issues and asked me if I needed any extra help. More importantly, is that she attempted to find out what was wrong with me. At the time, I was dealing with my mother being arrested and not knowing where I was going to end up. Whether I would have to move out of state and leave my friends behind and just yet again be disoriented. She didn't pass me because of my troubles or just push me along, give me the good C because that's what I needed to go ahead. She was very intent on making me earn my grades. Unfortunately, that was my first F in high school. My only one, but my first one as well. And I would like to say very, very graciously thank you to Mrs. Wiley. If I wasn't smiling, you could assume that there was something wrong with me, because that was the mask I used to hide my troubled home life. Cheerleading is the perfect double life to lead when trying not to be sad, because you have to keep everybody else happy. That's the goal. Bobby Jo Schwartz was my cheerleading coach. She and about 12 other girls are what I called extended family, because I spent more time with them than anybody else, between practices, games, cheerleading camp in the summer, anything else that we wanted to do. Although I never told Bobby Jo my home conditions, I felt like she knew. She always did certain things behind the scenes that made me feel like she had an intent to make me feel more welcome when I came to practice. Mrs. Janet Schnauzer was my high school guidance counselor. She was there for me through it all. She helped me through some very difficult times. Between her and Rooster, I had a very strong support system, educational and psychological. They helped me get into college, and to them I say thank you profusely. Structure is something I lacked as a child. I would be misleading you to let you think that I never made mistakes or hung out with the wrong crowd. But wrong crowds were the people, the children, that had the most in common with me. They were going through the same things at home, and they didn't have anything to hold on to ensure their way out of our hard lives. I was lucky to understand at a young age that if I continued to let my mistakes pile up, they would create a wall preventing me from my exit from a child's life and my mother's shadows to the life that I dreamed of and live today. Today, I'm an educated woman, a wife, a military member, and a proud Yorkshire Terrier owner. Although I had to endure a lot of adult situations in my youth, for me the military was the largest step that I have taken in my life. At the age of 20, after 2 years of paying for books and things for college, rent, my car, gas, I went to Master Sergeant Kevin Battles, who was a recruiter in Bethlehem City, and had a conversation about my future. I walked out of that office knowing that I was going to be serving my country, have free room and board, and be able to go to school for free. Since that day, it's been history. I've lived in 3 countries, 4 new states, and have been promoted promoted and awarded above my peers. It's funny, while listening to the earlier presenter, I heard him say that some people feel that homeless children are a lost cause, and that they're not worth the extra time and effort that is needed at some points from educators. And to that I say, with perseverance, determination, and just one person in a homeless child's life in their corner, that outcome can be dramatically changed. Educators, it's important that I recognize these people and also include organizations such as the Valley Youth House, Turning Point agents, as well as the Boys and Girls Club, because I spent a lot of time there after cheerleading. And also all of you sitting here today that are also fighting for voiceless children, who really don't have an option in the fact that they're homeless. So my purpose in sharing my life with you was to introduce you to me, my struggle, and my journey. But in all honesty, I want you to take from this, what I want you to take from this, is that you have already met me.